Hi there, welcome back to Camera Then Coffee, where you and me talk about deserving cameras. And today I'm damn excited to share with you a detailed specs comparison of the new Sony A7IV and the newly born Canon EOS R7. It's a new channel, so if you find this video helpful, do consider subscribing. It helps me when you do that. Cool, let's begin. So one of the best cameras by Sony's Sony A74 was unveiled in October 2021, and now after 8 months we have the new mirrorless hybrid camera from Canon EOS R7. Even though it's not a close competitor of Sony A74, but it does have some great specs that stand head to head with Sony A74, even though it's $1,000 cheaper than the Sony A7IV. Wow. Now let's start with the most important specs of the cameras. While the A74 has a full-frame CMOS sensor, the R7 on the other hand has an APS-C sensor with 32.5 effective megapixels. And both the cameras have their latest processors, so you don't have to worry about the speed and other operations of the camera. And together, the sensor and the processor allow 10 FPS continuous shooting on A74, whereas on EOS R7 you get 15 FPS using mechanical and electronic first curtain shutter and 30 FPS using the electronic shutter. Speaking of ISO, both the cameras offer the same low range, but on the higher side, A74 will be more helpful in dark situations. And talking about shutter speed, it's the same story on both the sides. However, R7 goes down to 1/16,000 of a second. Great. Next up is autofocus, and good for us as creators, both the cameras have the latest and best autofocus systems of their respective companies that allow smooth and confident continuous focusing in all the recording modes. But if we talk about numbers, where Sony A74 has 759 face detection and 425 densely positioned contrast detection points that cover approximately 94% of image area, the R7 on the other hand has 651 AF points using automatic selection, 5915 points when using manual autofocus in photo mode, and 4823 points when using manual autofocus in movie mode. And during nighttime photography or in low light situation when the light is not in our favor, the R7 moves slightly ahead of A7 as it claims to focus down to light level of -5 eV. But in real life it will be more or less same. And yes, both the cameras have eye, face and head detection in case of humans, animals as well as birds. Looking at the dimensions of both the cameras, both look similar in size and almost weigh the same. But if we talk about the width of the camera, Sony A74 is slightly thick as it houses a heat dissipation structure that allows it to shoot 4K video for longer period of time without overheating. Good for creators, both the cameras have flip screen with almost similar display quality, which is really helpful when taking a high angle or low angle shot, and obviously when you're vlogging. Next up is electronic viewfinder, and as you can see, A74 has a bigger electronic viewfinder with 3.69 million dots. And unfortunately there is no inbuilt flash in both the cameras, but it's okay because external flash is always a better option. One really good thing about both the cameras is that they allow SD UHS 2 cards in both the slots. However, A74 is ahead in this case as it also houses the high-speed CF Express card in the first slot, delivering faster writing speed and better buffer capabilities. Now let's talk about the battery. Both the cameras have internally chargeable batteries. But if you look closely, it looks like the R7 has better battery capacity as it has the same battery that is used in full-frame R5 and R6. Regarding video battery life, the Canon hasn't specified anything about R7, but I will surely let you know once I hear from fellow creators. Next up is weather sealing. Now, even though both the cameras claim that they are water and dust resistant, but frankly speaking they are not 100% sealed, and their resistance doesn't prevent water or dust to enter the camera. So yeah, you need to take your own precautions. And yes, in A74 you have E mount, and on R7 there is RF mount. Now before we look at the video capabilities of both the cameras, let's have a quick 10-second look at the ports present on both the cameras. Here I must point out that A74 has a full-size Type A port that allows your camera to work with a wired LAN connection. That's great. And now the most awaited video specs. Starting with the best thing, both the cameras don't have any recording limit. and the best they have to offer is UHD 4K up to 60p. But there is a catch. On A7IV there is 1.5x crop in case of 4K 60p, and on R7 there is 1.81x crop in case of 4K 60p. And as far as Full HD recording is concerned, both the cameras offer slow motion recording up to 120p. And just like internal recording, both the cameras are super great in case of external recording as well. And one of the good things for the video lovers, both the cameras have their best log profiles. And lastly, A74 can be directly used for 4K or Full HD live streaming without the need of any extra software. And at the same time, you can internally record your stream. Now, you can also use R7 for live streaming, but the camera only supports live streaming on YouTube. And yes, last but not the least, both the cameras have 5-axis in-body image stabilization. But if you look closely, R7 offers up to 8 stops of correction, which will be really interesting to see. But A74 is not behind. It has an active mode in which the camera records gyro sensor data, which you can use to further stabilize your shots in post-production. This is it guys, thank you so much for stopping by. If the video was helpful, do support me by subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.